All right, I think we are, or should be, we should be live, and we are live. Excellent. So this morning, I've got a bunch of stuff to unbox, and we've got a lot of work to do on the channel this week, so we're going to get going. And I've got a 12 o'clock conference call, which means I've got to be done in 90 minutes. So I'm going to be working through all this stuff. And I'm going to wait just a few minutes for people to come in. But what we're going to be doing is unboxing 3 different things this morning. So one of them is not in the title. So we've got the new Raspberry Pi 400. This unfortunately is not up on Amazon yet, but I'm sure it will be in the near future. And what they've done is they've packaged the entire Raspberry Pi into a keyboard so you can get like an out-of-the-box experience without having to do anything. So I think that's pretty cool, and we'll go through that. I got in, I'm really excited about this. I bought all this stuff, by the way, except this, but I'll get to that in a second. I got in the new Surface Laptop Go. We're going to unbox this also. And it looks like I'm unlisted on YouTube. Hang on a second, everybody. I just got to fix one thing on the YouTube side. And then we will be public. I was like, why isn't anybody coming into the YouTube thing? And then I realized, excuse me for one second. Then I realized that I didn't have it actually out to the subscribers. So in any event, you can watch me on Amazon at least. So we're going to unbox the new Surface Laptop Go. And I'm excited about this one because it is a little 12-inch Windows machine. And I've been using the Surface Go tablet, which I like, but I don't ever use it as a tablet. So it's nice to see they have a laptop version here. So we've got that going on. And then to test out the Pi 400, I had another thing that's been in here for a while. This is on loan from Lenovo. This is their ThinkVision display. Now this is a touch display, which I don't expect to work as a touch display with the Pi, but it might be kind of fun just to hook it up to this thing, because I've been meaning to get to this for a while now. So that is the game plan. So I think we're going to start with the Surface Laptop Go, just unbox it and get that going. And then from there, we will unbox and start playing around with the Pi 400, because I would like to get a review up this week about it. And here is the Surface thing. And like Apple now, they've got a nice handy pull tab here to unbox it, so I don't need to do anything fancier. Now this starts, I think, at like $5.99 or something. The one that I got to check and see what the one I have costs. I got the mid-range model, and the reason was that this was available, and the entry model was not. And on my Surface Go, I kind of regretted not getting the mid-range one, just because these do offer a little bit more performance. And I found with a lot of these PCs, especially, so what happens is they come up with a nice, so these I don't consider like the commodity kind of PC. And so what happens is that when they make one of these non-commoditized computers, and this is true of Google and Microsoft and even Apple to some degree, not as bad. They come up with one that's like super inexpensive, and then they kind of ramp it up from there. So this one is the mid-range, and I found that like the entry model is never good enough. You know what I mean? It's like just spend the extra couple bucks, because I think the entry model only has like 4 gigs of RAM on it and stuff. So you want a little bit more than that. This one's got 8. So we're going to start with this one and work our way through. And it looks like people are finding the stream now, which is good. I forgot. So what happens with this YouTube thing, they just changed how YouTube works. And every time I create a new stream, it makes it unlisted unless I specifically remember to go over there and make it public. It's a pain in the tuchus. Before, I used to put a thumbnail in and hit the start button, and that was good to go. Now it's like a whole ordeal. So, you know, that's how it works. But the Amazon thing is always easy to do. So there you go. Now, if you are watching on YouTube, I have a presence I am building on Amazon. So if you click over to the link in the description, you will find my stuff on Amazon. And you can follow me there. I'm trying to build up followers, in case you're wondering. Stephen Huxtable is here. Welcome. And I'll be putting up your chats like this as we go. If you're chatting on Amazon, I will verbally acknowledge you, because this only comes in through YouTube. Okay, so we're going to do an unboxing. I'm going to be recording these as we go here. That's the game plan. And we'll go from there. All right, and I think camera 2 should pick it up. Yeah, I think we'll be good on camera 2. Let me just get my camera focused there. Okay, so we're going to do a overhead here when we first start the unboxing process. Jim Holloway is logging in through YouTube. There you go. Hi, Jim. Okay, so let's record the unboxing, and then we'll go. And then if you're watching, I have until noon. I got a conference call at noon I got to be on. Stephen Huxtable is wondering, is this not Twitch? Yeah, so this is separate from, so Amazon's thing, and you can go click over right now. They have live streaming on the shopping site, and there's been a bunch of effort to get us influencers in. I consider myself, I try to think of myself more on the journalistic side, but you know, if you want to call me an influencer, fine. And we do live streams, and there's a lot of us doing live streams on Amazon, and it's a really good fit because I'm able to live stream my workflow, and the benefit to me is that it's an affiliate thing, like you know, like the affiliate links are. So if people are watching the stream and they pick up something, you know, there's a credit. So that's a good incentive for me to do it, and it's great for you all because it allows me to connect with you. And what's been really helpful about doing the live streams is that I'm able to get some good questions that can help make the review better in the end. So that's what's been fun. Stephen Huxtable is wondering what CPU is in this. Well, this one is the i5 version, and I think this is running, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure this is running with the Y series processor. I got to double check that, and it might be helpful. So let me check on that. So Surface Laptop Go processor. And it's tricky because Intel like calls something an i5, but they're all different, right, as far as the processors go. So let me look up the tech specs here on Microsoft's page. This is, let's see, specs. Okay. I'm just browsing through here. It's a it's a regular i5. So this one has a 1035 G1. That's what this one's got. So it is a regular. So I'm guessing it's not fanless. So we will find that out as we get through the review process. Now it doesn't have the iris graphics. So from a like something like this with Tiger Lake would be super awesome because you'd get, or even AMD for that matter, would be really cool. But they went with the i5, and I think I got the blue one. They have a couple different colors available. All right, so let's record the unboxing, and we'll see what we do here, and we'll go from there. Yeah, so sorry for the notification problems. Everyone's talking about the notification. I forgot. So when I was mentioning this before, when I set up the live stream, I have to make it public every time, and if I change something, it switches it back to unlisted before it goes up. So that was it. So I had to go public after it started. But it looks like we're up to 83 right now, so I think we're in good shape. Okay, so let me do a little recording here for the extras channel, and we'll go from there. 3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, it's Lon.TV, and it's time for another unboxing, and today we're going to unbox the Microsoft Surface Laptop Go. This is a 12-inch laptop, and this one is powered by an i5 processor, a 1035 G1. And I love little laptops like this, so I was eager to pick one up and check it out. Now, as I unbox this, I do want to let you know, in the interest of full disclosure, that I paid for this with my own funds. I needed a smaller laptop here to work with on the channel for different things, and that's what this one is going to be used for. All the opinions you're about to hear are my own. No one is paying for this unboxing, nor is anyone reviewing it or approving it before it gets uploaded. And let's take a look at what's inside here. One thing I like about the Microsoft devices is that the build quality is always very nice, and this one is no exception. And as you can see here, it's already booting up for us to get going. Now this one is the 8 GB model. It's kind of the mid-range version. It has the i5 1035G1 processor inside. I don't know if this has got a fan on board. I'm not seeing any vents on it, so I don't know if it's a fan. Oh, it's got vents in here, so it is not fanless, and I'll let you know in the full review that we'll do a little later how much noise it makes. But again, I really like this form factor. You've got a nice aspect ratio on the screen, kind of a square aspect ratio. This reminds me a lot of the 12-inch MacBook, which I really like quite a bit, that Apple discontinued, but it does feel a bit heavier, and it's definitely thicker than that machine is. And again, we're going to have a full review of this coming up soon on the main channel. It does have a touch display on it, but it's not a tablet like the other Surface Go is. And we'll silence Cortana there. So it is more of a laptop, but a very shiny one at that. Now for ports, we've got a full-size USB port here. This is probably a USB 3 port. We have a USB Type-C port, which is a full-service port, so that should charge the laptop and also allow us to use data devices, docks, and that sort of thing. We got a headphone jack over here. And then on the other side, it looks like we've got an SD card slot. And I don't think I've got an SD card on my desk here at the moment, so I can't test it out. But it doesn't look like the card will go. Oh, I'm sorry, that's not an SD card slot. Let me take that back. Let me go cut to this cut here, and we'll come back to that. And then on this side here, we have a power adapter for the Microsoft power plug that goes in there, which is a magnetic breakaway. So you can leave the port here on the side open and charge through the, let me start that again. We're going to fix that real quick. So let's take a look and see where I went off the rails, and then I will add a second clip here. I like it though. It's a little thicker than I would like. You know, it feels more traditional as a laptop, like the 12-inch MacBook, which I just love, and I'm hoping maybe Apple will come up with one today at their big announcement. It's a lot thinner than this, and I'm guessing they had to make it thick to accommodate the USB port. I don't know, but it's definitely thicker. So let me show you my 12-inch MacBook by comparison. I was hoping for something like in this vein. But you see how much smaller this one is? And what's funny is this machine is 5 years old. But look how nice that is. I just love this computer. I can't tell you how much I love this computer. And I'm hoping that they come up with a Apple Silicon version today, because the big announcement for all the new Apple stuff is today. So there you go. Yeah, and a lot of folks saying it would be great if they had an AMD version of this, because that would be, and this would be an awesome platform for AMD. All right, give me a second here, folks. I just want to play back where I went off the rails, and we'll fix it. Hang on. 3, 2, 1. A full-size USB port here. This is probably a USB 3 port. We have a USB Type-C port, which is a full-service port, so that should charge the laptop and also allow us to use data devices, docks, and that sort of thing. We got a headphone jack over here. you know what? My audio's been cut off the whole time. I was muted. I got to do that all over again. Sorry, everybody. So hang on. I just screwed up everything. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to have to like do a voice. Oh, gosh. It's one of those days. So I had muted because if I play back the stuff, yep. So we're going to have to run through that again. So let's figure out. I'm just going to do a voiceover on the other side. All right. And we'll go from there. All right, sorry for all of the technical difficulties, everybody. So what happens is I have a little switch on my microphone pack here, and when I play back, because here's what happens if I play things back here. And then on the other side, it looks like we've got an SD card slot. So I do this. And I don't think I've got an SD card on my desk here. So that's why I do that. Oops. So nope, did not get the audio for the recording, so we're going to have to shoot that part again. And I'll just roll with it. The good thing about the extras channel, which is what I'm doing this for, is that it's not, I don't put the same level of perfection on everything. Not that my videos are perfect at all, because they're not. Yeah, that's going to have to, that stinks. That was a good take also. So we'll go from there. And hey, you know what? It was good that everybody was telling me. If I was keeping an eye on the chat, I would have seen that nobody was hearing me. All right, so let's do this again. It's great, though. Like, one of the nice things about doing live streams is that you do find out when you're not getting your audio going. So, and you can also see how I don't have a crew. So there you go. All right, let me go back and find where I left off on this. The moment, so I can't test it out, that sort of thing. We got a headphone jack. Let's keep that back. Should charge the laptop and also allow us to use data devices, docks, and that sort of thing. We got a headphone jack and card slot, and I know phone jack over here, and then we're going to pick it back up. I'm just trying to make sure the cut will look decent. So we're going to pick it up right here, and I'll just say, you know, we screwed up, and so the stuff's already out of the box. No biggie. 3, 2, 1. And then over here, you've got the Microsoft Power Connector, and this is a magnetic breakaway thing. We did record this section of the video already, and I had my microphone off, so we're doing it again now that everything is out of the box. So the only other things left in the box are the power adapter and the US power cord here. And this will connect magnetically to the power port there, and it very easily breaks away. So when somebody trips over the laptop, it just pulls this out and your laptop stays on the desk. My daughter almost wrecked her Chromebook this morning because her Chromebook doesn't have one of these magnetic breakaways. It's good to see Microsoft still including that. And you can attach this either way. The power adapter looks like it's 39 watts according to its label here. Just your basic little power brick. But again, you could power it through the USB Type-C port if you want. The keyboard feels pretty nice. I haven't typed on it much yet, but it does have nicely spaced keys. They are a little smaller than full size perhaps, but the spacing here seems to work, and it's got decent travel on them as well, and we'll cover more of that in detail in the full review. The trackpad feels really nice here. It's a nice metal casing, just like all of the other Surface devices have had, and for the price point here, it feels pretty good. It is a bit larger, though, or thicker, I should say, than the 12-inch MacBook that I've been using for the last 5 years. You can see here just the two of them together and how much bigger, actually, the Microsoft version is, but they do have about the same screen size and aspect ratio. So all in, I am excited to start playing around with this thing because I really did need a smaller Windows machine for some of the things that we do here on the channel. So we're going to have a full review of this coming up very soon. Stay tuned for that. And until next time, this is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching. All right, we saved it. Saved it in production, not in post. And if worse comes to worse, I could roll in some of that B-roll of the the rest of the stuff getting unboxed. So that's how we'll do that. Cameron, that was the take before I turned the microphone off. So we definitely did not have audio. So we'll go from there, and we'll have it work out from that point. Okay, so that's done. And I have often done like this. Like this has happened in the past. Now it's since I've switched over to vMix for my production software. I can now so it used to be on the TriCaster. I have a TV in front of me here, which I have to do something with, and I always review takes after I record them to make sure I'm happy before I move on to the next part of the video. And what happened on more than a few occasions is that I would mute the microphone to listen to the TV because it would always echo back on me. And I would sometimes have an awesome take with no audio. And then in my original setup, when I was using an external recorder, sometimes the recorder would randomly record the video but not the audio. And boy, that was aggravating because I would have just a killer take, killer for me at least, and then you'd look at it and there's no audio. And what a bummer that was when that happened. So yeah, this stuff with the audio, you gotta be on it. So we're gonna have Jake pick this up today, and he is going to do a analysis. He's gonna run all the stuff, get things installed on it, but I think it's nice. I do. I like it. It's a little bigger and heavier than I expected, but it's usable. All right, so we've got about 45 minutes left, so we're going to go through this. We'll do the unboxing video, and then I got this is the Raspberry Pi kit. This is not yet on Amazon, unfortunately, but it will be soon. So I'm getting ready for that. And what this is it's a Raspberry Pi. Here, I'll show you it's a Raspberry Pi inside of this keyboard. Isn't that cool? So you can do the whole Raspberry Pi thing with just an out-of-the-box experience. And we'll look at the specs here. So it's pretty much a Raspberry Pi 4. This is a 4 gigabyte model. It's got the Wi-Fi, of course, gigabit Ethernet, 2x USB 3 and 1 USB 2.0 port. You got the GPIO pins on it if you wanted to do some of that stuff. 2 micro HDMI ports. Does all the, it's a Raspberry Pi 4, but the PCB on this is different. So it's not actually just a Raspberry Pi shoved in a case. They actually designed same chipset, but they designed it for this keyboard thing. And this is kind of the realization, perhaps, of the Raspberry Pi as kind of a modern Commodore 64 kind of computer, because you have the whole computer built into the keyboard. And I thought that was kind of retro modern, right? So, and think about it. Think about this. You could buy this for $100 with the keyboard and mouse. This is like the whole kit. They sell one with just the keyboard. So this is $100 with the keyboard and trackpad and mouse. And then there's a keyboard-only version for $79. This one is $99. And so you can buy this. You can get an $89 monitor. You got a computer. That's all you need. And we'll see how it goes. Take a couple of questions here from some folks. I'm missing a bunch. Patrick Chang is wondering about vMix. Can vMix do well and survive by just charging a one-time fee? That's a good question. I think right now their business is growing because there's so many people doing this stuff. I would imagine at some point they might, start diverging into a different area. New Tech was doing that with the TriCaster. So every 2 years they come up with an upgrade that you wouldn't have to spend the full amount for the hardware again, but you would spend $1,500 to upgrade to the next level. And the way it works with vMix now is that it's a $50 renewal fee for the license. So the license expires after a year, and you pay another $50 to keep it going, whichever level you were on. But I'm sure at some point they're going to hit critical mass, right? And they may have to look for that. We have a question about the keyboard type. I'm assuming on the Surface Go here, is it membrane? Yes, I believe it is a membrane keyboard. And we'll see what's going on there. Jedi Mind Trick wants to know, are the RAM is the RAM options configurable? I think it's only a 4 gigabyte version, which actually is good, because I think what they're doing with this one is they really, because they're calling it a personal computer kit, as opposed to just the board, right? So I think that might be kind of the angle they're going for there. Let me see if a few other questions here that I'm missing. Robert, this is a good one because I'm glad it looks effortless because I get tired after doing these. I'm like, whew, it's a lot of work. But you know what it is that the live streaming and the recording for me is the same effort. So if I'm recording a video, I'm just not I'm hitting the record button and not streaming, right? So it's the same, like that workflow that I use for making videos is the same as it would be for live streaming, because I've been basically live streaming to myself for a long time now. So the streaming really kind of felt natural to me as we were doing this. And it's a shame this is not up on Amazon yet, but this, what people will see when we boot it up will be similar to how this works. Utso wants to know, how do you access the GPIO pins? I'll show you that when we take it apart, but what they did is they built the GPIO pins into the back of the keyboard. So that's how that works. All right, let's get to the unboxing, and we're going to boot it up in a minute here. I don't think it comes with the OS, so I think there's still some effort to download that and bring it in. So we'll see what happens when we do that. I might have to go get my SD card reader, but let's see. All right, so let me get the recording set up here, and we'll go from there. Now remember, this is the kit, and so you don't have to get the mouse and the power supply if you already have them. You can just buy the keyboard and save 20 bucks. That's how that's going to work. Okay. And Patrick Chang says he started a new channel. And yeah, you know what it is that it's easy to just pop up and do stuff. And it is tiring. It's a lot of work. And you got to, it's funny, my daughter, she's 7 years old, and she wants to do some YouTube videos of toys and stuff. And she's like, let's just do a video. I said, you can't just do one. You got to plan it, So what I do when I do a video, we come up with a whole sheet, of different things that I want to talk about. You got to spend time with the product. You got to think about what the viewer is going to be looking for. And what's been helpful on these live streams is that, first of all, having you all tell me that I didn't record any audio, that actually was helpful, right? But also in the course of things, you're gonna see things here that I'm not going to see, or I might miss or may not be thinking about, and you're going to tell me in the chat. And now I've got another area to cover. So really, the planning process is a big part of it. And it's getting all the facts straight. So for example, we've got a video that was supposed to go up Sunday morning, and in the course of putting it together, something didn't look right on one of the benchmark tests, and then I went back and ran it again, and I was like, oh, you know what? That's wrong. And so now that video had to get like redone in some parts to account for what was incorrect. So there's that. So it's, yeah, if you want to do it well, you got to put time in, and that's the value exchange, because I think the channels that do the best have people that put the effort in, and so the exchange of value here is the effort invested in exchange for your attention. And if it's not answering the viewer's question, they're going to move on to another video because they're not getting what they need out of that because you didn't put the effort in, right? So that's kind of the way that stuff works. Okay, here's another great problem. Okay, so with YouTube. So Flood of Sin said, what happened to your weekly wrap-up? I still do it every Monday, but YouTube, for whatever reason, doesn't think you're interested and didn't put the video out in front of you. So if you go on right now, you'll see it. It's there. I did change the format because what happened was when it was more of like a newsy show, nobody was watching it. I want to take that back. People were watching it, but it wasn't growing anything. Like I wasn't getting additional views on it, and I was putting a lot of effort. I mean, basically, the weekly wrap-up is Monday for me. And if I'm not seeing growth for the channel or for the content, it's effort, you're kind of spinning wheels. So I switched to a single topic wrap-up, and that's been working really well. Like the last month or two in particular have been really good because we're focusing on one topic only. They're a little shorter, and I think that's worked better. So that's the way to go. And there's been a lot of interest on the Starlink stuff. So we interviewed somebody who has it on this most recent one. It's really, we did a video interview with the guy. Josh Greisen is his name. He's got a YouTube channel. And it was awesome. Like the connection was, I talked to him, so we did like a half hour or 20 minutes of interview, And then I spent another 40 minutes with him afterwards. He's starting his channel. And he's in a great position because Starlink just came out. There's like maybe, you know, a couple dozen people with it, right? So I'm like, dude, you gotta just dig in and just start cranking out content because you are early, and early is good. You know, we were talking for about an hour and a half, and it was stable the whole time. There was one little drop off that you might see in the interview, but it hung on, like the connection didn't drop at all. But beyond that, he was up and fine the whole hour plus. And given the way those satellites orbit, there must have been probably a dozen or half dozen handoffs from one satellite to the next. So it was pretty good. He's up in like southern Washington State, so he's up there, northern. So that's that. Aniket here is wondering about the Comcast connection. It's been great. It's been awesome. I haven't done the 4K just because we are in the busy season. So once things settle down and I get caught up, because I have a pile of stuff and it just keeps coming. So this is my busy season because holiday shopping is about to start. So I want to get as much stuff reviewed up as possible. And if I switch to 4K, it's going to take the channel down for a couple days. I can't afford to do that right now. So we will come back soon. Trent here is enjoying the Starlink stuff. Yeah, I'm enjoying it too. And here's what's going to happen is that now that more people are getting it, I think the attention from the news-related stuff that I've been doing is going to switch to the people that actually have it. So we'll probably still talk about it, but I'm not going to see the traffic I was getting on that topic because now people can actually see it working. And Starlink's going to be great for. I mean, I was so impressed with the connection quality and the speed that he got. It's really good. Equally Wrong wants to have Plex do a lifetime promotion again. I have no insights into when they do the promotional pricing. So they have in the past done like a Black Friday thing, very short-lived. So I would make a note, and I don't know if they're doing this, so this is not like some insight from the company, but I would make a note to yourself to just be looking for that on Black Friday because that might happen. All right, let's unbox this thing because I see everyone's just eager to see what's in this box. So why don't we do that real quick? And I've got about another 40 minutes or so. So we'll probably have enough time to boot it up, hopefully. Let's see. 3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, it's Lon.TV, and it's time for another unboxing. We got in the Raspberry Pi 400 the other day. This is essentially a Raspberry Pi inside of a keyboard. And there's been a bunch of early reviews of this already, and it's actually a different motherboard essentially versus the traditional Pi, but the performance is pretty much on par with the Pi 4. I bought the personal computer kit version, which includes the Raspberry Pi built into the keyboard, a mouse, and a power supply. This will sell for about $99, but if you just want the Pi keyboard thing here without the power supply or the mouse, you can get it for $79. And this is a really inexpensive way to get a personal computer going because all you got to do is bring a monitor to the mix and you're good to go. Now, I do want to let you know in the interest of full disclosure that I paid for this with my own funds. All of the opinions you're about to hear are my own. No one is paying for this unboxing, nor is anyone reviewing it or approving it before it gets uploaded. So here is the keyboard and computer itself. And in many ways, this kind of reminds me of my Timex Sinclair behind me. It looks like it just fell down right over there, which are kind of like a back to the 80s thing where you've got the computer and keyboard integrated into a single package. This is a membrane keyboard. It feels okay, actually. It doesn't feel that cheap, but it doesn't have the gaming mechanical quality that you might be looking for. But it does actually look pretty nice here. So that is the keyboard. And that's all you need, really. You can plug a keyboard into it if you want to get more keys or a number pad. But you attach this up to your TV and you're good to go. Now I'm noticing a little bit of a quality issue here as I'm taking mine out of the box. It looks like that tab key is out of place. I will see if I can get that to snap back in. I mean, it still clicks, but the key is popping up on me, so I'm going to have to fix that keycap. But other than that, it looks pretty good. Let's take a look at the back here. Remember, the computer's inside of this. The GPIO pins are right here, and this is one of the really cool features of the Raspberry Pi is that you can do your own hardware projects and connect things to it. So those pins are still here on the back, so you still have the ability to get at those. It's got an SD card slot, and it came with an SD card already. This one is a SanDisk at 16 gigabytes, good enough to start. You could, of course, put your own in there with more capacity. Just like the Pi 4, it unfortunately has those micro HDMI or connectors, the micro connectors here, so the two HDMI outputs are here. This will drive two 4K displays. We tested that when we did our Pi review a few months back, so that's pretty neat. You've got the USB Type-C port here for power. You then have two USB 3.0 ports, a USB 2.0 port, gigabit Ethernet, although I don't think we were ever able to get full gigabit speeds out of this, but it was faster than 100, and we'll test that again when we do the full review. And then we've got a Kensington lock here for locking it down on a desk so you can keep it in one place. That's really good for schools and computer labs and that sort of thing. So here you go, the full computer in the keyboard. But again, we got the kit, so we've got more stuff here. And so we've got a power supply for our Pi here. This is a USB Type-C power supply. Interestingly, though, it is 5 volts at 3 amps. So that's probably enough, obviously, to power the machine just fine. But you might want to go with a beefier USB-C power supply if you're going to be plugging things into the USB ports. But we'll see how this works. I'm sure it'll be fine. And then in this box, we have the official Raspberry Pi mouse. And I think these are things you can buy separately. But if you wanted to get a convenient all-in-one out-of-the-box solution, again, schools might find that more attractive to pay $100 and get the whole thing. You'll have the mouse here. You know, nothing great, just a regular run-of-the-mill mouse. And there you go. Now there's actually more in here, so let's see what else we got in the box here. So we have an adapter for the SD card, and this will be important if you're going to install a new operating system on it. We'll boot it up in a minute because I'm not sure if it does actually have the OS installed on that card. We'll find out. And then, this is cool, you've got a Raspberry Pi beginner's guide. Oh, this is really neat. Now, of course, this is the Raspberry Pi pictured here, the regular version of it, but they also have the keyboard version down here as well. And yeah, you've got a lot of neat little coding things that you can start on. This is cool. This really does remind me of like what you would get with a classic computer. When you bought it, you got a nice big manual with all sorts of programs you could type in and stuff, and this looks to be very similar. So this is going to be kind of fun to play with my daughter. She's really getting into coding a bit. And then here, oh, look at this. They actually do give you, oh, this is nice. You get a cable. This is a micro HDMI to full-size HDMI cable. Good stuff. All right, what I'm going to do real quick is get a monitor out and boot it up and see if it does have the OS installed. If it doesn't, I will get that OS installed offline and have everything up and running for the full review that you'll be able to find very soon. That's going to do it for now. Until next time, this is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching. All right, I'm going to have to cut that because I just said I was going to boot it up and then I ended the video. So we're going to just fix that in post, as they say. And again, this is for the extras channel, so like I said, the effort level is less for these because that channel, just from an effort perspective, people have a different expectation. So, all right, so we're going to log that clip there, and I think that came out okay. I just want to see where I can cut it. 3, 2, 1. Hey. Oh, this is really neat. Now, of course, this is going to be kind of fun to play with my daughter. She's really getting into coding a bit. And then here, oh, look at this. They actually do give you, oh, this is nice. You get a cable. This is a micro HDMI to full-size HDMI cable. Good stuff. All right, what I'm going to do real quick, I'm just going to cut it where that little blah. All right, so let's move this stuff out of the way. I just love this, that it comes with this book. It's a nice book. That's awesome. Sally's asking in the Amazon chat if I'm going to get an ARM MacBook. Absolutely, because I've got to do something with this little guy here. I am hoping, I'm going to be very disappointed, but I really want them to make this in an ARM version, because given what we've seen from the early videos, because I have a MacBook Pro that I take with me. I don't travel right now. But I do anticipate at some point in the near future that we will be able to travel once again. I think the Pfizer news was great yesterday. And I bring the little MacBook with me when I'm going to New York City because it's so convenient, you know. And so to have something that could edit video, I think would be totally awesome. Now, if you're curious what I'm doing right now, I'm going to be reviewing this a little later this week. This has been on my to-do list for a while. This is a portable display that I got in on loan from Lenovo. And so I thought it'd be a good opportunity to take it out and get going with it while we're doing this thing. So that's what I'm going to do. And these displays are awesome. You know what I like about their displays? You can find these all over Amazon. But what's nice about the Lenovo display is that it has the stand built in, and you're not dealing with like those case things that you have to contort to get. Look at that. I mean, it's done. It's up. And this one, we did review the ThinkVision a while back, but this one is a touch display. So it has a pen that it comes with too. So I think that's pretty neat. All right, so let's get so I think it'd be kind of cool. Like you could take out your Raspberry Pi. Granted, you may as well just get a laptop at that point, right? But I just think it's cool. All right, so we're going to plug in the Pi's power in a second here. And I don't know if this has a switch on it. Does it have a switch? No, it looks like it does not have a power switch. So you just plug it in just like the regular Pi does. Max Stock is wondering, what prices do I expect for the MacBooks? I would expect that the MacBooks will cost the same as the current ones do. And the reason is that Apple is very good at making money, right? And if I'm Tim Cook and I can cut the cost down of my manufacturing, oh, you know what, this may not work with this because I'm thinking out loud here. You know what, this may not work because I think this needs to be powered by the computer that it's plugged into. Yeah, there's no HDMI on here. Yeah, this is not going to work with this. So we're going to we'll get out the other display. I'm still going to review it now that it's out of the box because that one will be a nice, I don't want to call it a layup review, but it's an easier review for me to do this week because it's there. So I do have my Lenovo monitor. Where did I put it? Let's go get the monitor out. And I've got about half hour, so I'm still good on time. But where did I put that monitor? Here it is. Ugh. This is my go-to 1080p monitor. And it's nice. It's got FreeSync. It's 75 hertz. It's a good little display. All right, so we'll move that down there. And we'll just, although you know what I could do? I should maybe do the 4K, shouldn't I? Let's do the 4K monitor. Because that one, because this does support 4K, so why not try it out, right? So let's move this one off the platform for a second, and we'll get out my 4K monitor, and we'll see how it does. All right, there we go. A little 4K action. Is it plugged in? Plug it in. And you know what I'm going to do also is I'm going to connect up my network. We'll get this sucker on my multi-gigabit Ethernet. And I've got like a total mess of cables down here. And where is my Ethernet connector? Yes, I got this like really long flat Ethernet cable that comes out from the wall. And I have like a mess of this has been, well, I say this every time, and I just try to excuse my horrible lack of organization. It looks like it is plugged in over here. Where is it going? Oh, all right, let's put. Okay.
We're taking the stroller. Ellie wants to take the double stroller. She can take her stuff.
Okay, have fun. All right. We are, by the way, we are quarantined right now. We're okay. Everybody tested negative, but my daughter's school had some cases, and we had she had a close contact. So we have, so technically I'm not quarantined because I'm a case of a case, or a contact of a case. No, I'm a contact of a contact, not a case. But, you know, I work from home, so it's easier to just stay quarantined for everybody. So we have decided to stay locked down until our 2 weeks passes. And then we've had so many symptomatic cases around the community that we ended up just shutting the schools down until the end of the month, just out of caution. So we are pretty much not quite yet back to where we were in March, but we're getting there quickly, unfortunately. Let's see. I put the power adapter down. There it is. And let's get that reconnected. And we're going to use the HDMI. Let's go plug this in. Got to get that HDMI cable out also. Where did we put the box? Here it is. So we'll get that HDMI hooked up, and may as well use the mouse that it came with too, right everybody? And what I would do with the mouse, because you don't need to use or waste one of the USB 3 ports on the, well, it's a very short cable though. See that? It's not very long. So I'm going to put this into the USB 2.0 slot here. And why do you want to do that? Well, because you want to free up your other ports, which are faster. You don't need a fast, yeah, so this is like a super short cable. But I guess if it's, you know, next to the keyboard, that's how you would normally do it anyhow. All right, let me get the camera adjusted here. And we'll see when it boots up what it's got inside. And yeah, we're at 4K. So let's get the cable undone here. I'm glad they gave the cable. I don't know why though. I guess there's just there's a lot of stuff on the back here, but it would have been, I guess they really didn't have an option other than the micro. That's the one thing. Every time I take out that Raspberry Pi, I'm like, ah, darn it, I got to find the adapter again. So I've got a lot of mini HDMI cables, but I don't have a lot of micro. And then, like everything else down here, I lose stuff. So that's on me for losing stuff. Okay, so we got everything connected. We've got the power here. Yeah, I really wish they gave a little bit more juice on the power. That's my only gripe on this kit. All right, here we go. It's plugged in. The monitor should come up here in a second. And let's see what happens. Let me start recording here. Got to select the right port on the monitor. You want HDMI 1 maybe? Let's see what plug I'm in on the back there. I'm in HDMI 1, okay. So is there a power button on this thing? You know what's weird? I don't know, you know, the power is like dropping in and out on this thing. I don't know what that's all about. I wonder if I got a defective one. Because what's happening here is oh, there it goes. Okay, so it looks like, yeah, it comes up and you're good to go. So it looks like that power light's going to blink when the disk is getting accessed. And let me just do, and a couple other things I'm noticing here right out of the gate. And this has been an issue with the Raspberry Pi and everything, is that it doesn't fill, you know, you have the overscan, and I'm guessing they're anticipating that people plug these into televisions. So there's a bit of an overscan issue here where it's not filling the full screen. And it's also not yet scaling the display, and I can't remember if, let's go into the settings real quick here. Okay, so yeah, so we just got to go and disable the underscan. And I might zoom in on this. Actually, you know what I'm going to do is maybe, well, I don't have the adapter handy. Let's see if I have one in my box of tricks in here. Because I could bring this into my NDI thing. So I did have an adapter earlier. It is missing at the moment. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm just going to zoom in on the screen. I think what I'll do here is kind of pick it up from here to say, okay, we plugged it in and it's good. And we're at 4K. And then I'll zoom in a little bit and give people some tips on setup. Because it looks like you can disable this stuff in the configuration screen. So there we go. Okay. All right, so let's go pick it up from, and I've got another 20 minutes. Okay. 3, 2, 1. All right, so I got it hooked up to a 4K monitor, and it looks like everything is on screen. Now, a couple of things that you might want to do when you first get your Raspberry Pi going, especially if you're using a computer monitor, is to adjust the underscan. And I'm going to show you how to fix that, because right now I'm not filling the entire screen. There's kind of a black border around us here. And because we're on a 4K display, this is super, super, super tiny. So I'm going to zoom in my camera here a little bit, and hopefully when it focuses, we should be able to see the configuration screen that we've got. And I'm just going to move this window down a bit so that we can get it more centered. So I went into the Raspberry Pi configuration, which is just off the little Pi menu in the upper left-hand corner. And I'm going to disable the underscan, and I'm going to enable pixel doubling. And for this 4K display, that will make things less tiny and also fill the display. So I'm going to click OK here. All right, and now I'm going to cut that recording right there. And hopefully the display comes back. And will it? That's the question. So right now it's just dark. Looks like it's reloading. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Check, check. 3, 2, 1. And now we have a nice full screen here, and it was good to see that the SD card did have the operating system loaded on it already. So if you've never used a Raspberry Pi before, you can just jump right in and have a full desktop available to you. We're going to have a full review of this, which will have a lot more detail in the near future. But it looks like this really is an out-of-the-box Raspberry Pi solution from the company, and it's built right into the keyboard. Stay tuned. We're going to have more on this very shortly. Until next time, this is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching. All right. Now, I am going to just log that clip. And we're good there. And I'll get the rest of this set up. Because the one thing that it's defaulting to is the UK. But I'm across the pond, as they say. So I'm just going to set it up for New York and American English. And oops, I forgot to say use US keyboard. Although I'm assuming that that's what this is. So we'll see what happens with that. Troy Boatwright wants to know, if you take the SD card out, would it work as a keyboard? And it will not, because it's not a USB keyboard. You know, it's all kind of internal. And yeah, to be honest, the keyboard quality here is not great. They do make, though, I mean, it's not a bad keyboard, but as you saw, my tab key is out of whack here. They do make a keyboard that looks just like this that works with the Pi or anything else for that matter. So if you like the way this looks and you like how compact it is, there is a keyboard that you can find that does that. And I'm just going to make a new password here. Get that going. And okay, you know, it's funny is they actually, I went and did that whole setting. They actually give you this on the setup screen. We'll just go next here. And it's looking for Wi-Fi. We're going to skip that because I have Ethernet installed. We'll have it do the update and see if it finds any updates. This should go pretty quick because it's on my gigabit connection. Paul Bakewell is here. And it's going to go through its installation process. They've really made this pretty easy. And you know, even with just the regular Pi, it's not, and this is the same exact operating system because this is essentially a Raspberry Pi 4. Blade wants to know, what's the model number on that portable Lenovo display? It is the M14T. And I'm not sure if that's on Amazon or not. Let me take a look. The M14 regular one is available, but the T on Amazon, but it looks like the T version is not. And just downloading the updates real quick. And my experience with the speed of the Ethernet on this has been like about half of like 500 megabits or so. Like it never would get to true gigabit, although it is a gigabit Ethernet port, and partly it's just the speed of the I/O, you know. But we'll see what happens when it comes up. And what I should do while this is going, gosh, I knew I had, maybe I do have one in the, so I just started organizing cables better. And maybe my adapter is over here in my micro, yes. So I have, oh, I do have an adapter, perfect. So you know what I could do? Although, you know what the problem here is? I don't have a, well, I do have a 4K thing. So I can capture it 4K out of this. I just wonder, though, if it's going to kill performance. Maybe we'll wait a minute, but I have an adapter here that will work. So I just want to get a good sense of the performance. So right now it's just downloading the updates. And this will be done in a second, hopefully. And I've got, again, another 10 or 15 minutes or so. And while we're waiting here, Liang Tang wants to know, how is the keyboard flex? It's pretty rigid because, here, let me kill your lower third here. It's pretty rigid because the plastic is pretty thick on the bottom, so it doesn't flex that much. It feels pretty solid. Not as solid as like a Commodore 64 would feel, but yeah, it's pretty solid. And that's why I said it kind of reminds me. This thing fell over. This is actually my very first computer. This is the Timex Sinclair 1000. I think this was the Spectrum overseas in UK. But this was like when you wanted a cheap computer back in my youth. I think I got this when I was in kindergarten. So I was about 5 or 6 when my dad got this. And this was like a real cheap computer. But it has some love. It's actually emulated on or simulated on the Mister. And of course, there are emulators out there. It was horribly slow to type programs in, though, because it just had this membrane keyboard. So that's that. But yeah, that's crazy. So this is where we're kind of back to basics. But this one does 4K. It runs. You could run its little servers on it. You can play media back. The Pis are actually really good. Are really good media devices. Because although they may not always feel that zippy, there's you've got hardware acceleration on the SoC, the system on a chip, so it's able to do stuff. Let's see here. Meantime, let's know, what monitor am I using? This is an LG. I don't have the exact model number. I got to check on the back here. This is an LG. Let me give you the exact model number. I may find it on Amazon real quick for you too. 24UD58-B. And I bought this because, let me see if I can find it on Amazon for you real quick. I bought this because it was the lowest cost 4K monitor I could find. And the reason why I got it is because I have a lot of 4K things that we review on the channel. So it doesn't do HDR. That's the only downside to it. But any other 4K stuff I found works fine on it. And I'm just looking to see if it's still available. I don't see it here. I think LG has gone to mostly, let me take a look. This might be it. I think they've gone to mostly HDR stuff now. But this one's 24 inches. I think I paid like $250 bucks, and that was a couple of years ago, so I think it costs less now. Yeah, I don't see it on Amazon right now. Let's see, I'm just looking a little bit more here. Yeah, so it looks like the new one actually is nicer than the one I have here. Oh wow, this is a good deal. Here, I'm going to put this up on the Amazon carousel, and I'll add this real quick because I think it's actually a pretty good price. Does it have HDR? I don't think it does. Oh, never mind. I take that back. This is a HD and not a 4K. Hang on. I was looking at that. I was like, wow, that looks really nice. Here it is. Yep, this is it. Okay, so I'm going to add it to the carousel. It is $298, so it actually costs the same as it did when I first bought it. It doesn't do the 4K, But if you just wanted, I'm sorry, it doesn't do the HDR, and it's now on the carousel. And the carousel is for the people watching on Amazon. It'll pop up on there. But it's 24 inches, and it looks nice. I mean, it's an IPS display, and when you've got the pixel doubling going on, it looks great. I use it with my Mac every once in a while. So yeah, it's full 4K. It's got FreeSync. Has a game mode and a black level stabilizer. 2 HDMI ports in the back and 1 display port. And I recommend using DisplayPort for 4K output. That's what I usually use. But it's good. It's actually pretty good for games. Again, no HDR, but if you don't need that, you can save a little bit. The color gamut is 72% of NTSC, so I'm guessing it's not going to be the best for creative work. They have more advanced. I have a nicer 4K from them on my desk around on the other side of the room that does do HDR, that does have a wider color gamut, but it also costs a lot more. So you got to balance it out. But for $200, $300, 4K, not a bad deal. Although you could probably buy a TV, 4K TV for that, right? So it's just installing the updates, and this takes a little bit to do. And yeah, I need to get some more chat moderators. Who wants to be a chat moderator? I'm going to get rid of, so I don't like to give these people attention either, so I'm not going to use their name. And we're just waiting for this to install the updates. So if anyone would like to be a moderator, I'm happy to promote people. So what happens is that the, okay, so Mark Dell raises his hand. I know Mark Dell, he's been around for a while, so we're gonna elevate you, my friend. You're in charge. And Good Child Music says BenQ and ViewSonic. Yeah, BenQ, what I like about BenQ, I haven't done as much with ViewSonic, but what I like about BenQ is that they have some really affordable displays that are good. I found like the industrial design isn't always spectacular on them, but it's pretty decent. Okay. Ignis wants to know would I do Starlink unboxings eventually, and I probably will once I am able to get it. I'm further south, so I'm going to add Greg M here as well. I'm just going to put people on that I've seen on the chat before, so that's good. Yeah, so be nice, Mark Dell. Don't be too. Got to be careful. Moderation is moderate in moderation. Yeah, it's still going here. Yeah, performance-wise, like just moving the mouse around and stuff, it feels very similar to my experience with the other one. And the updates take a while, obviously, because I'm sure there's a bunch that came down since this was available. But it's not going to be the fastest thing. You will do better with a So Meme Time is asking about monitors. And you know what? I reviewed, and check my channel out. We reviewed a AOC monitor that supported G-Sync, FreeSync. I think it ran at 144 hertz. I thought it was a very good value. It's a TN display, but it was one of the nicer looking TN displays I've seen. And I would suggest looking at that one. So I've got a monitor for everything. So I have like a regular 1080p monitor. I have this one for 4K, and then I've got the AOC that we use for higher refresh rates, because that one, again, goes up. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, does it go to 240? I can't remember on that one. But look back on my channel, it'll tell you. But that one I found to be really good. And we're still installing updates. We might run out of time because I got my call in about 20 minutes, but we'll see what happens here when it's done. So I did want to do a quick, and I'm going to play around with this later today and start working on my review and stuff. And we'll go from there. Yeah, I'll tell you what, on the moderation front, first of all, thank you, Mark Dell and Greg M. for helping out here. You know, YouTube has been having trouble with the spammers lately because I've been getting all of these fake young women in my chat, on my comment thing, you know, like they say I'm single or whatever. All right, system is up to date now, and I think we need to restart. So we're going to do a quick restart, and we'll run a quick little something, and then we'll have to call it quits on the stream today. But I did get some work done today, which I feel good about. I've been fixated on all the news coverage for the last week, so I'm slowly getting back into the groove. I have so much work to do. I have so many things to review, and there's not enough time in the day. And we'll let this boot up. Yes, don't expect anything faster than what you've experienced on a Raspberry Pi before. I think it's more I think they did well here because this is a very approachable form factor. I mean, look at it. It's a keyboard. That's the computer. And you plug it into a TV and you're good to go. You got Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and you're off and running. Okay, so we are back up. And let us, and I am not expecting it to perform well here. I'll run the iPerf tests and stuff when I have more time. But let's just go to speedtest.net and just see what kind of internet we can transit through this thing here. So let me cut over here. The problem with the speedtest.net is it puts my IP address up on screen, so I got to figure out how to mask that. Let's just move this down like this. Let's see. I'll let go. All right, so. And I don't think I'm on, yeah, this will work. Go a little bit higher here. So I think even if I move the window, it might impact things a little bit. Let's see. All right, there you go. Yeah, so you're not going to get, if you have a gigabit connection, you're not going to see super fast speeds out of the browser. And I'll measure the speed out of the adapter through an iPerf test. But yeah, I'm getting about what I experienced before. You know, about. It's funny, I'm getting more upstream than downstream on it. Isn't that funny? So I will let that finish. Yeah, we're doing about 300 right now. There it goes. But let me run this again. Yeah, it was 119 down, 300 up. But I was moving the window around, and that might impact its performance because again, you're not working with a lot of horsepower here. And again, this is through the Ethernet. I haven't connected it up to the Wi-Fi yet. All right, here we go again. Wow, isn't that weird? It could be that the server it's connecting to, yeah, so I would say you're probably going to get realistically about 200 to 300 out of both ends. But it's funny that it does better on the upstream than the downstream. Isn't that weird? Now, it's funny, though, before I got my fancy fiber connection, this, of course, would have been 12. And I've got 300 here. I got 1,700 more that I could do on this, right? Isn't that crazy? All right, so let me go back to the browser. And let's look at my YouTube channel and see how that does. Now, built in, and this was smart that they did this, it has uBlock Origin built into the browser, or installed as a plugin. This actually runs Chromium, which is the open source version of Chrome. And so we can actually watch the video that we're streaming right now. That's kind of meta. And granted, I'm only streaming out at 1080p. And it's like defaulting to 360p. So let's see how it does at 1080. I'll pull up the stats for nerds here too. See how it's doing. Stats for nerds. Yeah, this is feeling a lot like my other one here. Whenever I do this, I think about Spaceballs. Is this now? No, this is now. Yeah, it looks like I've got like a 20-second delay between the time that you see me. Yeah, it's dropping, even at 1080p 30, it's dropping a ton of frames. And it's actually, the processor is well optimized for media playback. It's just, we're running at 4K. It's, this is killing it. But there you go. Yes, that was like, that's a pretty long delay to YouTube. No wonder why it takes a while for the comments to kind of loop around. Pretty neat. Pretty cool. All right. Yes, I got to do some more work on this. I got to go back to my Raspberry Pi review and just see what I talked about there, because I think a lot of what was relevant in that review will be relevant for this one. I mean, really the big difference here is that it's a out-of-the-box solution. And I love out-of-the-box solutions for things like this because it's more accessible to consumers. And I think that's what's great there. And Ignis is asking about Starlink and whether or not I would use it. So I would consider getting it. My only concern with getting it, I would get it if they offered me the beta. I would totally buy it right now and review it because I think that's great content. For me, the fiber connection, is always going to be better because I'm jacked into the head end down in Killingworth, Connecticut here. So I've got 2 gigabits, well actually 3 gigabits symmetrical in both directions, so that you're not going to do better than that on satellite. But I live in an area that is essentially in the forest, and we have wires hanging on poles. So all of that said, if we have a storm that rolls through here that's bad enough, if any of the telephone poles between me and the head end 6 miles up the road are impacted, then my internet goes down until they fix it. So it would be nice to have Starlink as a backup because the connection, especially on the upstream, as we saw the other night, he's doing about 10 to 15 megabits per second. So I would totally have it as a backup. I just would want to be careful about, I just would want to be careful about how we handle that as far as the monthly fee, because I wouldn't want to pay $100 a month for something I'm not using. So if I'm able to like start and stop the service, that might be useful. But it's kind of neat because I don't do a lot of remote stuff. But I'm thinking it'd be kind of cool to just, like anywhere I would go, I could take out this thing and have a live feed to the internet. Like that's decent, right? So that's a real valuable thing. So there you go. All right. Edwin Solis says, yes, the Chromebook would definitely run circles around it. The Chromebooks are much more powerful. And I think what you saw here also, actually, what we should try real quick before I close out, because I have another 10 minutes. Why don't I convert or down convert or whatever? Let's go to 1080p. So let me go into the configuration here. Let me go to 1080p. So we'll go down to 1080p. And let's see if that makes a difference in performance. And it's still pixel doubling here, so we're going to have to turn that off real quick also. So let's go close this. And we'll go back to preferences, configuration. And we're going to turn off, oops, where'd it go? Display. Pixel doubling. Oh. Huh. That's weird. Well, let's see what happens. So let's just pull this up real quick and run that test again. And we will see if it does any better. It definitely feels faster at this resolution. So yeah, it's not doing much better though on the internet side. It's just weird that the downstream is so much slower on this thing. Isn't it weird? Like watch the upstream. Isn't that crazy? I got to look into that. That's why I'm going to run the iPerf test to see if it's something with the browser, It could be that the browser is doing, maybe the browser is doing more on the inbound than the outbound. I don't know. But it's the same performance as what we saw out of the 4K. So we'll play with that a little bit more. This is a good one here. Yeah, no, you can't run OBS on this thing. You could use it as a source for that, but not do much more than that. Okay. All right, folks, I got to jet for a little bit. I got to get on my conference call, but I am going to do a little bit more with this and hopefully get a review up this week. I got to figure out like what other people are doing also, because this has been, they send them out early to a lot of different reviewers. I did not get one, so I'm going to get something going with this. But if you have questions that you would like me to answer, let me know down in the comment stream, and we will do that. All right, everybody. So I will catch you all very soon. And yeah, this is only Tuesday, so I'll probably stream again later in the week. So just set your notifications. I never plan these things because, I stream when I can. So set your notifications, and hopefully you will all see me very soon. And hang in there, stay healthy, get tested frequently. Actually, that's the thing I want to impart upon all of you. Even if you feel fine, get tested, because you could be spreading stuff around and you may not even know it. It's happening. All right, good. Okay, everybody, I will catch you in a little bit. Got to get on my